welcome to Broken Entertainment, and today's video is the one I promised in yesterday's video, talking about where I intend to take the channel, future endeavors, that kind of thing. So, when I started this channel, it was really as a comic review channel, and I was going to talk about some writing advice and that kind of thing. And as I moved along, I moved away from comic reviews and I moved away from writing advice. And I did that for two different reasons. For comic reviews, the comic book industry in the US has taken such a giant hit that even channels that have hundreds of thousands of viewers are having trouble getting people to view comic reviews because the market's gone. Now, maybe if I did manga reviews, but I'm not a manga person, so, no real reason to do that. I have done some book reviews to differing amounts of attention, so I will continue to do those. And as far as writing advice goes, I moved away from it because when I look at YouTube and I see writing advice with a couple of notable exceptions, I'm talking about writing advice, not people who are booktubers, so readers who talk about their favorite things in books and so on, but actual writing advice. A lot of channels give you kind of the same thing. Here's my list of tropes I hate. Here's a list of things that publishers don't want. Here's a list of the top 5 things to not do. A lot of very similar stuff. So I backed away from it, and I'm kind of moving into that territory again because I feel like a year later, 2 years later, I have a lot more interesting things to say on the topic, especially with as much work as I've done on my own books. And I kind of, rather than being a pure advice video, I just kind of like to talk about my writing and what I'm doing and the way I look at it. So, the latest example of that is my philosophy on villains in my writing. I'm talking about writing advice to an extent, but I'm doing it through the lens of my writing, what works for me, what I like to do, and, people can take it or leave it, and that's fine. And then I do a lot of commentary on entertainment news, and that's not going to go away. That will probably shrink a little bit as I expand other areas, but that just means I'm going to focus on the stuff that really matters more in entertainment and less on the day-to-day kind of, if you bring up Bounding into Comics, for example, you get the 475th article about George R. R. Martin being late. This could be kind of interesting here. You get a lot of what I call minor stuff. Stuff that's but every now and then there's something big, and I'd rather talk about the big things. If I wanted to use an example, to me, the Flash Supergirl costume reveal, that's pretty big. A lot of news going around about the Flash, a lot of speculation, and I've moved away from rumors, so I'm just covering actual information. And Snow White live action remake, because of the situation surrounding that, the Warner Plus streaming service, that kind of thing. To me, I'd rather focus on the really important stuff than just everything that comes out. Instead of logging on and going, okay, what's the stupidest thing on here today? Like I considered talking about George R. R. Martin again, but it wasn't anything new. When I read through it, it wasn't anything new that I hadn't already talked about. So, in short, he gave an interview and said the book's not done yet. Well, we already know that. So, whatever. So I'll be focused more on the stuff that's really matters. And I might pick on some specific movies and stuff like that and talk about them in terms of issues that they have, problems that could be addressed, sort of like doing a book review, or a movie review, but without doing a full-on review of the movie. And I do the occasional movie review as well. Those are limited specifically to movies that interest me. So I will not be reviewing movies just for the fun of it. I like to, if I see a movie and it really interests me when I watch it, then I like to do a review on it. Whether that's this movie was awful or this movie was really good or what have you. And moving forward, I'm going to expand what I cover. I'm going to talk more about my writing, and I'm going to talk more about writing in general. So you're not going to see that limited just to Sundays. It's going to happen from time to time in general. I'll talk a little bit more about tabletop gaming news. Not everything, just the major stuff. Warhammer streaming being a good example of that. And I want to focus, I don't want to move away from the concept of our entertainment being damaged or broken, but I want to move forward as well. I still want to call stuff out when I see it, but at this point, the damage is done. Star Wars is dying, Star Trek is dead, Terminator is dead, so on and so forth and so on. And yeah, you can point it out, and when something new happens and new developments happen in those areas, we'll talk about it. But there's a lot of tendency to focus too much on that, I think, and I don't want to fall into that. And I'd rather talk about what we can do moving forward. If that means talking about new creators that I've discovered that are doing awesome things, or talking about authors that do awesome things like Brandon Sanderson and Christopher Ruocchio, if that means showcasing somebody's work or talking about my own work and what I'm going to do, I want to focus more on that a little bit as well. In what I call sort of the entertainment renaissance, which I've been, if you've watched the beginnings of my videos, they always say the renaissance is coming. And that's because in 2020, a lot of stuff was pretty dark for obvious reasons. And I'm like, I don't want to be dark. I don't want to go down that road. So I said the renaissance is coming. And I continue to say that because when you have a breakdown in something like the collapse of the comic book industry, like the implosion of a lot of our movie franchises, what comes out of that is renewal. And it's the renewal that I'm going to start talking about more. That doesn't mean these other commentary videos go away. It just means I'm going to talk about, when I see the opportunity to talk about renewal stuff, renaissance stuff, which means new creators, emerging authors, new stories coming out, self-published works coming out, movies being made by independent people. I want to focus on that too, because it's okay to talk about what has failed, but I don't want to focus on that because the first thing, I used to say when referring to academic papers, the first thing you do is point out the problem, but that can't be the end of the paper. And that can't be the end goal of the channel, is just pointing out the problem. We need to also talk about solutions. And the solutions here are independent creators. They're the Christopher Ruocchios. They're the people I've highlighted on this channel already. They're people that are they're out there and they're saying, you know what, my favorite franchise has been crippled by bad movie making or what have you, so I'm just going to go out and make something. We saw that with Comicsgate, where the North American comic book industry starts to downward spiral, and it's attacking its fans, and it's attacking consumers, and it's attacking anybody that doesn't agree with it. It's shoving agenda down people's throats, and it has collapsed. But it's being replaced by manga. There's stuff out there. There's not this end. There's not an apocalypse. It's a development of new things, new growth. And that's where I want to take us. I want to talk about that new growth more. So you'll see more videos in that regard. You'll see more of a broader entertainment spectrum as well. Video games, tabletop games, stuff that interests me. And you'll continue to see the coverage of the news and commenting on stuff that's going on. But it's going to be the big stuff. It's not going to be whatever happens to be out that day. So hopefully you'll enjoy where we're going. Hopefully you'll like seeing this expansion and seeing this broadening of objectives. And hopefully we can begin talking more about renewal and what is coming rather than what has been lost. Because yes, we have to acknowledge, we have to criticize when necessary the things being done to the franchises that we love. But if that's all we ever talk about, we'll just be trapped in this mire of, loathing and anger and frustration. And that's not a good place to be. That's not a good place for anybody to be. And it's time we move to solutions as well. Not instead of, but as well. And, in the next couple of days, I'll have another book review coming on the second novel in the Sun Eater series by Chris Ferracchio, The Howling Dark. I'm probably going to talk about Brandon Sanderson some soon, and his books. And, I don't know what other news is going to come along, but we'll cover it. I just wanted to get you kind of an idea of where we're going in the future. I don't have any planned comic book reviews coming. I did get Starblades, which is an indie comic. It has beautiful artwork, very well put together. I haven't read the full story yet. I just haven't had time. But I won't be doing a review on it because there's just no interaction with comic book reviews anymore, unfortunately. If something really sticks out, I'll talk about it. Same with anything really in entertainment. If something really sticks out, that kind of thing. But just as a general doing reviews for comics, you're probably not going to see many of them. If you want to see more, let me know, by all means. If you want to see more of any specific things, let me know in the comments below. I want to move in a direction that is good for the channel, but also good for the viewers, that people enjoy. So let me know if there's something you'd like to see more of that I've done in the past in the comments down below. If you like the video, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing, hit the bell for notifications, and I will see you next time.